Hello everyone, Melanie here with CGL Recruiting, and today we're going to be talking about having an elevator pitch as a job seeker. Now, if you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you'll consider doing that now. Ring that bell for notifications, and if you find this information is helpful, please give us that thumbs up in the end. Now, when we talk about elevator pitches, a lot of people are used to hearing about what these are in regards to sales, but they are absolutely critical as well for job seekers. Let's talk a little bit about what an elevator pitch is. Let's walk through the key parts of an elevator pitch, starting with the preferred length. Now, an elevator pitch is meant to be something that's short and succinct. You're trying to keep the attention of the person that you're either speaking to or the person that you're sending this quick message to. So in general, it needs to be 30 seconds or less. It's sometimes even 30 seconds can be too long depending on the situation, but try to at least say that you don't go above that 30 seconds. Now, this does not mean you talk as fast as you possibly can to fit as much data in there as you can in 30 seconds. It needs to be 30 seconds at a very comfortable rate of speed that someone can listen and understand what you're saying and has time to react to what you're saying. So if you're watching them and you're communicating verbally right in front of them, you can gauge their level of interest in the information that you're giving them. Now, how will you know if it's 30 seconds? Well, this is easy. Once you write out your elevator pitch, just say it back to yourself using your stopwatch and make sure you know that it does not go beyond that 30-second mark. Now, if we're looking at this in a written format, I still think you should read it through and see if it goes beyond that 30-second mark. But another way to think of this is make sure it does not go beyond about 7 sentences. Anything beyond that point, and you're probably having too much data or too much information, or it's coming across as too short and too choppy to the reader. So try to stick with 7 sentences or less. Now, when we're talking about your elevator pitch and the duration, whether in written format or verbally, I do not include the hi, how are you doing, nice to meet you as part of your elevator pitch. So what we really want to do when we're starting to get into the elevator pitch part is begin by doing the focus of what your profession is. Now, this needs to be very clear and concise. It doesn't need to be, I'm a job seeker. We're talking about, I am a mechanical engineer. I am a human resources person. You may even want to go more specific. I am a mechanical engineer in elastomers. I am a human resources person focused on compensation and benefits. So it is something that you do need to hone in very early, though, to classify everything else you're going to say to that person with the first, this is who I am. Now, you have a decision point right here. You can either choose to go more specific, like the example I gave you of compensation and benefits in HR, or you can choose to be broader and say human resources. Now, you're going to have to gauge the situation to know which one is going to fit you best in that scenario. When you're broader, it does give you the advantage of having more roles available that you can slot into. But when you are more specific, you may have a better chance of giving somebody that puzzle piece that they've been searching in order to complete their picture. So there are definite pros and cons to both that you do need to consider when you do have your elevator speech. The next thing you want to focus on is what you are looking for. Now, please do not take this as I'm looking for a job. It needs to be something more honed in than that. It's not the responsibility of the person that you're talking with to decide what role you could be a fit for. Help them out, hone in on exactly what you are looking for. And this is also a great place to hone in on some other things that you're looking for. Are you looking for an individual contributor role or a leadership role? Are you looking in the location that you're at right now, or are you looking for a position in another state? Make sure you let them know what you're looking for. You want your pitch to be something that engages the person that you're speaking with or who's reading the information. So it's really important you use as many action words as you can. This is not just a place where you're listing things out or giving somebody a list, this. Try to use action words to engage the imagination of that person as to what you are actually accomplishing and can accomplish for them in the future. The last thing you want to do is have a call to action. Now, a call to action is usually in the phrase of a question where it's trying to drive the person to move forward for you. It can be where you're trying to move forward to have a larger conversation with them. It can be that you're asking them about specific positions that you may have seen posted somewhere, but somewhere there needs to be a call of action that the person who you're speaking with or who's reading this elevator pitch that you're putting together feels like they need to give you an answer back. Now, these are very specific to the scenario that you're doing. So I can't give you an exact example of one, but we are going to talk about in just a minute an example with the elevator pitch that I'm going to show you. So let's take a look at an elevator pitch that I think is worded very poorly. And then we're going to kind of talk about how we can change and adjust this to make it better. I am an engineer who was recently laid off from my position after being with my previous job for 15 years. I now have to find a new job as quickly as possible as my spouse was laid off too. I like to work on a variety of different types of products and have used several kinds of software. I can do any job you have available and am a real go-getter. So there are lots of things wrong with this elevator pitch. Let's break them down one by one of things that you should avoid. Now in this first sentence, this person just says engineer, which is too broad of a job classification. There is a huge difference between a mechanical engineer and a computer software engineer. So while you can keep it broad to a certain amount in order to give yourself flexibility, if you can narrow it down some, you absolutely should do so. Now for the second sentence, there is nothing in here that helps you get a job. It is something that you feel like you may need to say, but it's nothing that's going to help you land a job. It gives no information about who you are with your skills. It gives no information about your experience, the industries that you've done. I understand the job search process is so hard. That's why we're doing all these videos. We are trying to help. But listen, you need to have that short window of time that you have with them focused on your skills and experience. Focus on what makes you great, where they want to help you find that next role. Now in this next sentence, while it's nice, it's not great because they didn't give a strong enough focus on their skills and experience. You do want to list some specific things. The more you can be specific, the more you have a chance of that person who's listening to you or reading the information to say, oh, well, we actually had a need for somebody with that skill. Try to be specific. Now, this last sentence, you don't ever want to say, I can do any job you have available. That's not what we're looking for. You need to make sure when you're having an elevator pitch that you're trying to convince the person how you fit within their organization or with another organization that they're going to see. It's very possible that the person you're talking to is not going to have a role available for you, maybe not ever in their company. But if you make a lasting impression with your elevator pitch, perhaps they will see a job with another company and say, oh yeah, Melanie is an HR person looking for a role. Let me refer her into this role or at least tell her about it. The more people you have working to help find you a job, the better you are. Now let's take a look at an elevator pitch for the same person, utilizing all of the skills that we've learned and avoiding all the ones that we don't want to be doing. I'm a mechanical engineer with experience in several different industries, including oil and energy, chemicals, and automotive. I'm currently seeking an engineering management role, either here locally or anywhere in the US. My areas of specialty are designing using software like SolidWorks, as well as FEA and CFD engineering analysis. In my past, I've also worked on material development in a manufacturing setting, rapid prototyping, and new product development. Also, engineering and mentoring up-and-coming engineers is a passion for me that I really enjoy. Now, that elevator pitch is getting right up close to the 25 to 27 second range when I read it through several times. So you don't want to go any longer than that, right? But let's talk about all of the great information that was included in that elevator pitch. I know that this person is a mechanical engineer. I know that they're looking for a position not only here locally, but they're willing to go worldwide. I know that they're actually interested in a management position. And in fact, they love mentoring up-and-coming engineers. I know very specific the industries that they've worked in the past, some of the software and types of engineering analysis this person has done. And I also know some other special things they've done, like rapid prototyping. So your elevator pitch can really, really help to get across everything that's amazing about you to the person that you're talking with or the person that's reading that short information. Now, remember early on I talked about at the end, you should have a call to action. Now, I always think call to actions need to be very, very specific to the situation. It should never be something where you're putting the person on the spot. Can you get me a job? Do you have a job for me? Or what can you do for me? We don't want to go down that path. You don't ever want to be confrontational, right? You're trying to build rapport with this person, have them understand more about you, and hopefully be part of your network or the process to finding your next great role. So let's talk through some that are better to use instead. Like, let's say, for example, in your position, I'm sure that you have an engineering department within your company. Do you ever work with them and people like me? And then you're engaging that person about you and the function you do and how it connects to their company. When they start having a conversation back with you saying, well, actually, yeah, we do some rapid prototyping in our this division. That then gives you an opening to move beyond the elevator pitch and have a conversation back with this person, talking more and more about their company and how you and your great skills fit in. And that is priceless. Now, I do want to talk about one last thing with elevator pitches. You don't want to come across as too rehearsed. And the reason for this is, let's say you're at a networking event and there's 25 people there that you're trying to network with. You don't want to say the exact same thing to all 25 people where it looks like you're just remembering it from your head and then spitting it out. You do want to try and personalize it a little bit to the situation. And you do want to change it up a little bit. So 2 people standing next to you who you're introducing yourself to, you're not saying the same thing exact word for word to each one. Now, I know this takes a little bit of practice. So what I would recommend is write it out like 5 or 6 times using a little bit different words or maybe focusing on a little bit of different skills that you've done. And that way, when you are in that scenario where there's multiple people you're trying to network with, you don't come across as insincere. I hope this video was helpful to you. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them down below in the comments and I would love to take a look at them. I do try to look and respond to each and every one. Now, if this information was helpful to you as well, please give us that thumbs up as it really helps our channel. Thanks again for watching and I'll see you next time.